I would like to call the March 10th, 2014 meeting of the Board of Education to order. First item, the invocation. Ms. Etheridge.
Good evening. I'd like to read a small chapter in Don't Sweat the Small Stuff. Resist the urge to criticize. When we judge or criticize another person, it says nothing about that person. It merely says something about our own need to be critical. If you attend a gathering and listen to all the criticism that is typically levied against others, and then go home and consider how much good all that criticism actually does to make our world a better place, you'll probably come up with the same answer that I do: 0. It does no good. But that's not all. Being critical not only solves nothing, it contributes to anger and distrust in our world. After all, none of us likes to be criticized. Our reaction to criticism is usually to become defensive and or withdrawn. A person who feels attacked is likely to do one of two things. He will either retreat in fear or shame, or he will attack or lash out in anger. How many times have you criticized someone and had them respond by saying, "Thank you so much for pointing out my flaws. I really appreciate that." Criticism, like swearing, is actually nothing more than a bad habit. It's something we get used to doing. We're familiar with how it feels. It keeps us busy, gives us something to talk about. If, however, you take a moment to observe how you actually feel immediately after you criticize someone, you'll notice that you will feel a little deflated and ashamed, almost like you're the one who has been attacked. The reason this is true is that when we criticize, it's a statement to the world and to ourselves: I have a need to be critical. This isn't something we are usually proud to admit. The solution is to catch yourself in the act of being critical. Notice how often you do it and how bad it makes you feel. What I like to do is turn it into a game. I still catch myself being critical, but as my need to criticize arises, I try to remember to say to myself, "There I go again." Hopefully, more often than not, I can turn my criticism into tolerance and respect. Thank you.
Now please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. Next, Ms. Angela Lasher, principal at W.T. Griggs, will introduce the student who will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Good evening. Tonight, Sam Adams, a 4th grade student, he is the son of Quentin and Gina Adams and Forrest and Rebecca Seal. He has received the Lincoln Award for demonstrating honesty and integrity, as well as he's received Student of the Month and Academic Achievement. So this is Sam Adams.
Would you all please rise?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Sam, thank you very much. You did a good job. Okay, this month we have 2 schools in the school spotlight. The first one will be, once again, Dr. W.T. Griggs Elementary, Principal Angela Lasher.
Good evening, Chairman Dobney, board members, and Superintendent Scholler. Today we have students from kindergarten and 4th grade that will be presenting to you some of their writing. Ms. Parker's kindergarten class will be sharing books they have written about their experience at the YMCA. This is a wonderful opportunity provided to all of our schools in our county for our kindergarten students. Ms. Voss, 4th grade students, will be sharing with you some writing involving suspense. And now I will turn it over to both of our teachers. Ms. Parker?
Hi, I'm Molly Parker, kindergarten teacher at Griggs Elementary. A little nervous, sorry. I made Animoto of pictures from our experience at the Y, and the music's not working, so it's just playing now while I talk. Thank you for allowing our kindergartners the opportunity to learn to swim at the YMCA. They made lifelong memories while learning life-saving skills. And after our swim lessons, the students wrote nonfiction books about their experiences. We have Connor, Amelia, Jack, and Maria. They're here tonight to share their books with you. Thanks again.
I Can Swim by Maria Lash. I learned how to save people. I learned how to kick in front of my mom. My favorite part was jumping in. I love The Y by Jack Nernigan. I learned how to swim at the Y. I learned how to float. My favorite part was Chicken Airborne Soldier. I learned how to swim underwater. I learned how to float on my back. My favorite part was already swimming. I Like to Swim by Connor Richardson. I learned how to swim. I learned how to tread water. My favorite part was swimming in to catch Joe.
I told him you might have questions, so if you have any questions about their experience at the Y, feel free to ask them.
Did we miss the name of the young lady
I
with
thought
the
so,
tie
too.
on?
Can you tell them your name? Read your title and tell them your name. Say them here, they can't hear you.
I love swimming by
Any questions for them?
I just say, I have to say that I like swimming at the Y too. It's really nice. And the water's warm, right?
It was amazing to see them from their first day to their last day.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure.
Lots of progress. All right, Ms. Faust, fourth graders.
Hi, I'm Sandy Faust. I teach fourth grade, and our class has been learning how suspense is what hooks a reader and moves the story into the main event. Suspense will raise questions in the reader's mind, and if the main character is wondering or worrying, so is the reader. This will make the reader eager to read on to see what's just going to happen at the end of the story. Suspense does not have to be scary. We've learned about 3 ways to use suspense in our story segments. They are story questions, word references, and the magic of 3. We would like to share some of them with you.
Samuel Adams. A solitary Ariel want-to-be was on a jetty relaxing in the warm sun. She had long red hair and ocean blue eyes. The sea dweller wore a shell bikini top and blue jewels on her scaly tail. I walked a little closer, but my foot slipped on a rock. The creature heard me, and she scuffled away. I saw her tail as she dove. Her head soon surfaced, and Triton's daughter was once again on land. I squinted towards the opposite side end of the beach, and there on the rocky shore sat a mermaid.
My name is Wyatt Spencer. I was walking through the farm on a windy fall evening when I saw shadows dancing everywhere. I looked all over. There was no one around. Is this a party without me? I asked myself. This is getting creepy, I thought. I thought I heard music in the distance. I tried walking all around to find the music, but it was getting very dark. I started to shake. All of a sudden, I felt something touch my shoulder. I whirled around to find myself face to face with the dancing scarecrow.
My name is Bailey Oder. Glenn's mouth and eyes were open wide. He was looking at a sailor that had been around for years. The sea lover's breath smelled disgustingly of rum. Is he a buccaneer? Wondered Glenn. His few teeth were stained a dull yellow. He limped around, musket in hand.
Glenn knew that the old salt had too much rum from his staggered walk. Glenn noticed his pistol and sword strapped to his side. The tilting ship made the captain unbalanced. Glenn tumbled over closer side, and when he looked up, he held his breath. There on the deck stood a mean, nasty pirate.
My name is Brianna Jenkins. I was playing in the icy snow when all of a sudden I saw a snowball hit a tree. I turned around and saw nothing, so I continued playing. Suddenly I heard crunching behind me. Again I turned around and again I saw nothing. I must have been hearing things, I thought to myself. In the blink of an eye, I felt something cold go down my back. I took a deep breath, summoning my courage, and slowly turned once again. What I saw was a gigantic snow monster crashing towards me.
My name is Clifford Betzel. As I walked along the beach, I noticed a swarm of seagulls appear above me. Out of the corner of my eye, I thought I saw a kelpie over on a rock. She was a beautiful siren with long fire-red hair and an emerald green scale tail. She was distributing bread to the seagulls. On her neck, I saw a string of pearls. Her shell fin was by her side. The sea dweller smiled at me as she kept feeding the happy gulls. I squinted toward her. There on the rocky shore sat a mermaid.
Thank you. Ms. Lasher, Ms. Fost, Ms. Parker, obviously you do an excellent job of working with the students in our school system. You know, kindergarten, it's unbelievable how well they can read and write. Fourth grade is amazing too. And I'd like to especially thank the students, Connor, Amelia, Jack, and Maria from kindergarten, Sam, Wyatt, Bailey, Brianna, and Guilford from fourth grade. Once again, thank you very much. You did an excellent job. Since there are some very young students, if the parents would like to leave at this time, but you're more than welcome to stay.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Very welcome.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to introduce the students from JP Knapp Early College and assistant principal.
Thank you. I am Denise Fowle. I'm the assistant principal at JP Knapp Early College. Before I begin tonight, I wanted to thank you for having us here tonight. We're really excited to share some of the great things that are going on at Knapp. I also wanted to say that Mr. Bassnight, our principal, is not here tonight. He is fighting a terrible case of the flu. He was not at school today, and I talked to him this afternoon. I don't think he's going to be there tomorrow, but he does send his apologies. So, again, thank you for having us here. We're going to do two things tonight and recognize two different programs that we have going on at Knapp. I need my glasses. Hold on. We wanted to spotlight some of the wonderful things that are going on at our school. First to be recognized is the fitness program and its teacher, Mr. Bo Davenport. One of the things that we promote at Knapp is the student personalization piece of the child's educational journey. As a group of educators, we work really hard to assess what students need and develop programs that really meet those needs. As a veteran member of Knapp staff and the district's 2012-13 Teacher of the Year, Bo has worked to develop an outstanding fitness program for our students. This spring, Mr. Davenport was chosen to present at the PEP Summit in Phoenix, Arizona. This summit attracts physical education teachers from all over the nation that are or have been PEP grant recipients. His presentation there addressed the evolving curriculum that moves from a sports-based physical education program to one that is more fitness-based. At this time, I'm going to ask that he come forward and share a little bit of information about the fitness program that we have at NAP. We are so proud of him and what he's accomplished. Mr. Davenport.
I appreciate having me here tonight. As Ms. Fallon said, I just returned about 3 weeks ago from Phoenix, Arizona. The PEP grants is a federal grant program that's given to schools or counties. Currituck County is in our final year of the grant. Grant technically ended last year, but we received an extension. The PEP Grant Summit is where they bring in any recipients, both past and present, and it is based on evolving. It is based on what I like to call 21st century PE. We talk about the 21st century learner, but many times the physical educators get kind of left out of that. But these are guys that are looking to improve their program. So I presented on how to move from a sport-based curriculum, which is what probably most of you guys had, where you play volleyball for 3 weeks, play basketball. And that's great if you like basketball. That's great if you like volleyball. But what we do at NAP, we are fitness, we are activity-based. We wear pedometers every day. We set out activity times. We set out moderate to vigorous physical activity times. And although we do sports and we do other things, it is assessed, it is tracked, and it is presented to the student, where the worst thing you can do as a physical educator is say a student didn't do well because he didn't dress out. That's not acceptable. So at NAP, if a student doesn't do well, we can pull up the information, we could track that information, we could show their improvement, we could show their growth across the board. And that's what I presented on in Arizona. And I've been lucky enough to have several people want to see my grading scale and how we do things here to base their stuff on. It was a great honor. There's Dr. Robert Pangrazi, who wrote the textbook called Dynamic Physical Education. I've worked with him the last couple of years. Once he signed off on what we were doing, I knew we were moving in the right direction. So it was a lot of fun. I hope to be able to. They asked me to come back next year, but next year they have to pay my way. So I got to try to step up my program so that we can get back again. But thank you. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions?
I think you're doing a great job. If that's the kind of thing you're doing, I mean, it sounds like you're setting them up for a lifetime of exercise.
We try, and this is what I tell people, we'll have Community Fitness Night, which would be March the 20th coming up, if any of you guys want to attend. We bring in the public, and this is what I tell them. We play games here. We do play sports, but we look at it from the standpoint of when you have kids, not tomorrow, but when you have kids, can you go in the backyard and play? What could be active?
Right.
And we stood up there in Phoenix. I asked the question. I said, when you do volleyball, what is the point of that in freshman physical education? Is it mastery? Then all you're doing is having an extra volleyball practice. Is it participation, being active, and movement through sport? If that's your goal, then don't test them on mastery. Test them on improvement and how active they were that given day.
I'd just like to say something. I'm proud to have you as my son-in-law.
Well, that's big shoes to fill into.
You're doing a great job. Keep it up.
Appreciate it. And like I say, anytime you guys want to come in, just bring your shoes. If you come to watch, we don't watch, we participate. So you won't come in my class.
Schedule going out of town every time he has it. He says, yeah,
5 years straight, she's never made it to a fitness night. But we don't have kids sitting in the bleachers. We don't have kids sitting around not dressed out. If they didn't dress out, they still choose to participate. So the door is always open, but you got to wear your shoes and come participate with us.
Great. Thank you very much, Bo.
I'll just say before we move into the next part, we've spent a lot of time in the last month or so with our recruitment at both middle schools. And we actually, one student asked a question about PE, freshman PE. You know, they're worried about dressing out and all that and what they have to do. And there was a parent in the audience that stood up and talked about the physical education program at NAP. She'd actually been to Parent Fitness Night and kind of shared some of that. And it's really a program where everybody could be successful, no matter what fitness level they come in at. I think they really get a lot out of it. And we're really proud of Mr. Davenport for what he's done for our students. So thank you, Mr. Davenport. All right, the next part of what we wanted to spotlight tonight was the work our staff and students has done with that recruitment process. Administration, along with our guidance counselor, we visited both middle schools and hosted a parent information session at each school. The application closed yesterday with 117 applications from 8th graders. Our next step in the process is to interview those students, and that's scheduled for next week. This year we did something a little bit different. We invited interested students to visit our school on a regular school day, sort of like job shadowing. During the visit, students visited classrooms to observe instruction. They visited a club fair, and they also had the opportunity to hear personal insights from a few of our students. Tonight, I wanted those students that are here with me to share their insights with you. It's my pleasure to introduce Senior Daniel Broadnax, sophomores Zen Ramos and Sierra Troitano, and freshman Matt Giordano, and he's going to kick things off for you to just give you a little perspective of what life is like at Knapp. Before they begin, just as a brief background about Knapp, obviously we're a small school. We are focused on personalization. Is that up?
Yeah.
Okay, good. We provide those academic supports that students need. All of our courses are honors level courses. Did it move?
No.
It should just go. And again, our recruitment timeline, you can see here we have been very, very busy. Our next step in the process is to interview students, and that was really difficult with all the snow and stuff we had, because every time we scheduled something, we had to stop and reschedule, but we really worked hard to get that done. Our commitment day is May 15th, and then we'll meet and greet parents and students on May 6th. I don't know why it's not going to the next slide. It does?
Go back, go back.
Yeah. Oh, we did that. I thought we had 4 slides. Oops, forgive me, please.
Okay, there you go. We did see that one.
And again, we are designed to serve a population of students who may not get the opportunity to go to college. Low-income youth, first-generation college goers, English language learners, students of color, and other young people that are underrepresented on college campuses. That's the population we wish to serve. But we have a variety of students at our school, and we're really happy with all that they've achieved. I know that the kids that came in that are on the board, I'm sure they're getting ready for midterms this week. Winding down for Rick, getting ready to finish up with lots and lots of college credits, and Alexandra, I know she's looking forward to May as well, so really proud of what they've done. At this time, the students are going to share some of the insights that they shared with those 8th graders as they came to visit, and we think that that was really successful from the feedback we got from those 8th graders. So at that time, come on up, Matt, you're first. Let me get you going, Matt. Well, there you go.
Good evening. My name is Matthew Giordano, and I'm in 9th grade at JP Knapp, and I hope for a future career in graphic design or animation. And what you should know about JP Knapp is that it's a more fast-paced school for middle schoolers coming up. Instead of having the same class year-round, they just have they switch mid-semester. And JP Knapp has many different clubs like Science Olympiad, SAD Club, and other clubs like that. And it's very important to take notes and have all your supplies to succeed in the class. In my experience at Knapp so far, I can't really say much about it since I'm still a freshman here. But from what I've done at Knapp, it's it's a good school. Teachers are very supportive, and I like the school a lot.
Hello, my name is ZENAIDA Ramos, and I'm a sophomore. I plan to graduate with an associate's degree in science, and some of the clubs I'm in is SAD Club, SGO, FBLA, Beta Club, and Improv Club when we had one. I hope to go to NC State, UNC, or Western Carolina, and I hope to become a forensic anthropologist.
Wow.
Some things I had wished I'd known as an 8th grader coming into JPNAP were about office hours and seminar. Seminar is on Mondays and Wednesdays, and we have an assigned teacher, and we go to them and we work on projects. Like right now we're actually working on a project about college, and we have to research 16 public colleges in North Carolina and write about whether or not we're on the right track. And this teacher also gives you advice on whether or not you're doing good in school, and if you ever need anything, he or she will be there for us. And Coach Davenport is actually my seminar teacher. So we have office hours on Tuesdays and Thursdays. During this time, we are either assigned a teacher or we go to a teacher. If we need extra help, we need to take a quiz or a test, or we just need help reviewing for a quiz or a test. Some things that I think are important to know about NAP is that the teachers here are very supportive. They will always be happy to talk to you about anything, whether it's school-related or personal. And online classes really aren't that hard. They're actually a lot of fun sometimes. And one of the things I think is really, really, really important to know about NAP is that we're not all super geniuses like people think. We're just normal kids who know how to work hard. This is just a normal high school, but we just have more opportunities that are available for us. And like I said, you don't have to be incredibly smart to get in. You can just be a normal student. Some of my favorite moments here at NAP were Spirit Week. And it's always a lot of fun because we're all super competitive and really goofy, and we always have a great time. Last year, I went on a college tour. We went to UNC, Chapel Hill. It says Wilmington, but we actually went to Chapel Hill, NC State, and Duke. And last semester, a FBLA chapter took a trip to Kitty Hawk Heights, and we toured the sand dunes and the business, and we learned about the business aspect. And these are some pictures from my freshman and sophomore year.
Hi, I'm Sierra Troitino, and I'm also a sophomore at JPNAP. I'm also planning to graduate with an associate's in science. I was a part of the improv club when we had one, and I'm also a part of Beta now. I really like UNC Chapel Hill and UNC Wilmington, but as a sophomore, I'm still not sure of where I actually want to go. I really like the medical field, and hopefully I can become either a physician's assistant or a doctor. When I came to NAP, I really wish I knew how supportive the teachers were, and that seniors really aren't that scary. And then the dedication, required to go to school here, you really have to work hard. Everybody does it though, so you're not the odd person out. I also wish I knew about tournaments where we compete against each other. NAP is really small. You see the same person at least 5 times a day, and you get really close with everybody. It's basically a family. You can go to anybody. Teachers will bend over backwards for you. There's just so much support. These are also some of my favorite moments from Spirit Week, and also just day-to-day moments where we all have fun, but we learn at the exact same time. When I first heard about NAP, I wasn't really sure about it, but then I figured out why not give it a try, and I did, and I actually kind of fell in love with NAP, and I went to the ECU summer camp, and I got to meet all of my fellow classmates, and I wasn't really that nervous when I came, because nobody really judged you, because they were all exactly nervous, just like I was.
Good evening. My name is Daniel Broadnax, and I'm a senior here at JP Knapp. A little information about me is that this is my 4th year at JP Knapp. I decided not to stay the 5th year and graduate with my associate's degree. I plan on attending either East Carolina University or North Carolina A&T for a major in computer science or information technology. While I've been at JP Knapp, I've had the opportunity to participate in many different clubs. The clubs I've participated in are Science Olympiad, Green Club, where we recycle, Future Business Leaders of America, and also the Fitness Club. Some of my favorite moments that I've had at JP Knapp are intramural basketball. Because we don't have interscholastic sports, we compete against each other in different tournaments and sports such as basketball, softball, and volleyball. Prom has been a great experience for me. I attended last year, and even though we're a small school, we all go and have a good time there just like any other high school. And FBLA conferences have also been a great opportunity for me. I've attended conferences 2 different times, and I'm also attending one in 2 weeks where we're also in the finals for an event. I've learned many different business aspects, leadership, and public speaking skills just from being in FBLA. What you may want to know about JP Knapp. JP Knapp is what you make it. It's a regular school with irregular opportunity. We have opportunity that's not presented in the average high school. Many other high schools have the opportunity to take AP courses and college courses, but you don't get to graduate with 40 college credits like I do or an associate's degree. And you also don't have to be a straight A student just to have success at JP Knapp. That may be like a cause of fear for some students planning on attending because they feel like they aren't cut out for it, but the teachers and staff at JP Knapp are always willing to help you. I've never had an opportunity where I didn't understand anything or was struggling and no one reached out to help me. And we also don't have interscholastic sports, but we've competed against the high school with a fitness program led by Mr. Davenport. And that's a great experience to also have when we're not used to competing against other schools. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them at this moment.
Anybody?
I don't have questions. I just want to say that I was only privileged to teach one of you, but I believe you're all from Moyock Elementary. Is that correct? So
yes,
you were all my kids. I'm proud of you. Thanks.
I don't have a question. I just have a comment. We received recently a brochure from College of the Albemarle, and it's called Transforming Lives and Communities. And one of the very few people who received a 2-page layout there was Valerie Babola, who was last year's valedictorian, and she received 2 associate's degrees and her high school diploma at the same time. So that's the opportunity that our students have through this partnership that we have with College of the Albemarle.
Yes.
She made the cover too.
Yes.
She was on the cover.
Thank you.
Any others? Comments?
Just keep up the good work. Y'all are doing great.
I just wanted to thank those students for coming out.
Ms. Fallon, I have a question for you. Sure. You said that there are 117 applicants, and in one of the slides it said that you tried to keep between 80 and 100 per class. Any idea what you're going to try to keep the number to?
I hate to throw a number out there because we just don't know what's going to happen during those interviews. I know last year I think we had 86. And, you know, in the summer, a couple might change their mind and want to go to the high school. So the more the merrier is what we, I mean, you know, it's such a great opportunity. You really hate to say no.
Oh, sure.
And
when it's no cost to the parents.
Exactly. And when we interview students, we're really looking to see if they have that drive. Do they want to be there? Because they have to want it. If their parents want it and they don't, it doesn't work. So that's really what we're looking for. Like I said, we don't really have a number. We just go in there with an open mind during those interviews. So
Good.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And I'd also like to thank Daniel, ZENAIDA, Sierra, and Matthew for your presentations. Okay, at this time, I'd like to give a brief overview of our work session update from earlier today. We heard presentations of school improvement plans from Moyock Elementary, Jarvisburg Elementary, and Moyock Middle School. We also heard a presentation from Ms. Kinzel on the Read to Achieve alternative assessment, and that's at the 3rd grade level. Also, after further input from staff, we received a revision to homework guidelines. We also heard from Mr. O'Brien a revision to policy 3420, student accountability and promotion. It was a second reading, and we had to have that because the state now says we have to include, is it 20% from the end of course test as their final grade? We also heard revisions to the student health policies for EpiPen usage. We received a review from capital outlay budget. Also, the 2013-14 school calendar revisions and makeup days. Then also the 2014-15 school calendars. Then we talked about having a teacher and teacher assistant representative on the Board of Education, which we'll further discuss. And also the June board meeting date, which is tentatively scheduled for June 30th from 10 to 11 in the morning. At this time, approval of the agenda, and I would like to pull an item out of the consent agenda, and that's the one dealing with EpiPens we heard the presentation on earlier at the work session. And do I have a motion for approval after pulling out the EpiPen?
I motion that we approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Next, and I wanted to move that item to 1B, so that's where it will be presented. Next, Knights of Columbus donation. Doug Toll, Exceptional Children's Director.
Thank you, Board, for your time. And I'll be brief here and just want to take a look. This was originally scheduled for our February board meeting. That got canceled, so we don't have quite as many of our recipients here to accept their certificates, although they have already received their checks, which might lend to some of the tardiness on their part. But I just wanted to read a little letter from Chuck Tony, who is the Knights of Columbus director. Here's my contact and really spearheaded our involvement in this. The Knights of Columbus Council 8759 is pleased to offer the exceptional children teachers the opportunity to request funding to support their outstanding efforts in educating children with special needs in Currituck County schools. This funding is provided through the Knights of Columbus year-long efforts with the help of Currituck County teachers in our annual Tootsie Roll collections and through the generosity of local merchants who permit our collection cans in their places of business. Our council is very proud to be able to support the children with special needs who benefit so much from the dedication and professional staff in the Currituck County schools and look forward to continuing these efforts in the years to come. We appreciate the assistance we receive from teachers who help us in the summer heat to help make this project so successful and hope that they will continue to assist in our council's most important project. And so what they do is they set out stands at school or at businesses throughout Dare County and up in Corolla as well. They set out Tootsie Roll collection cans, and they just collect money, and they do that in the summer. They recruited some of our teachers. We had some teachers go down into Duck and towards Hatteras and Kitty Hawk to help collect money as well. And so for the 2013 grants for Currituck County, we received 13% over what we received last year. Total, he quoted $5,731. I think you'll have two sheets. It just shows what the teacher requested, what they requested it for, and how much they actually received. In addition to that, they awarded us $2,500 for a program that I think we're currently using at the high school called Alex Math that I've had experience with as well. And we want to pilot it in some of our resource classes as well to give them an opportunity. It can be a supplemental math program, and it's great for individualized math instruction as well. So we had $2,500 for that as well. And so I have some certificates. Again, Ms. Trussell has already deposited our checks. If any of the teachers are not here and the principals are here, they could come up and get these. If not, we'll just send these to them in the schools. So I'll just read the names and how much they received. From Central Elementary, Molly Hurdle for $280, Rebecca Alder for $260, and Amy Morris for $260. I know Mr. Baldwin was here, but I think he's left. At Jarvisburg Elementary, Lynn Gray for $185, and Jennifer Dunkel for $230. Mr. Blackstock, you want to come up and take these? Thank you very much. Sir. Thank you, sir. At Shawborough Elementary, Megan Grant for $280 and Mackenzie Hewitt for $245. And they also received $500 for the Alex Math. Moyac Middle School received $500 for the Alex Math. Moyac Middle School, Catherine Harrison, $210. At Currituck County High School, Amy Engel for $250. The Savannah Dean for $250. At Griggs Elementary, $500 for the Alex Math program. And then Miss Sue Giordano for $280. And Knott's Island, Miss Patricia Reedy for $275. And then Currituck County Middle School received $500 for the Alex, and Moyac Elementary received $500 for the Alex Math. So that is the summary of the awards. They had to write a little summary saying what they were going to use the funds for, how it was going to tie into their student achievement. If looking at that, they kind of went through, like I think the high school, they wanted toner for theirs, and they related it to learning through at the high school, they're going to go try to shoot all their copies to their printers, to their copiers, excuse me. The exceptional children's teachers are not near that, so they're trying to tie it into buying toner for their printers because they're trying to move away from that. So they're trying to tie it into keeping the teachers in the classroom and not having to run out and go get things. So if you ever go to a store and you see the Tootsie Roll collections there, please feel free to drop a couple quarters in and know you're supporting the Currituck County teachers. They're very, Chuck Tony was very involved in, we went to a little celebration down in Dare County in February. It was very well received, and the commitment they showed, I think, is just an example of, the community outside of Currituck supporting us. So very appreciative of them, and all the teachers have to write thank you letters, and I'm sending a thank you letter as well. All right.
Great.
Thank you
Allison, could you send Knights of Columbus a thank you letter on behalf of the Board of Education for their support of our schools?
Please.
Great.
All right. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you. Mr. Toll, it says at the bottom of one of the handouts, it says C. Tony Lamb.
Yes.
Is his last name Lamb? Because out of curiosity, we had a person that worked here named Tony Lamb, and I was just wondering if it's the same one. It's not?
No, all of his emails from you were Chuck Tony.
Okay.
So.
Great. Thank you. Okay, next, item 1B, and we have to suspend a policy because we received information on EpiPen usage and that, and the board felt it was important enough that we should pass this after just one reading rather than wait because, a student's life could depend on it. So at this time, I'd like to ask for a motion that we invoke policy 2450 to suspend one of the board policies.
I motion that we suspend the policy.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next, we need to adopt a policy which deals with the EpiPen usage, and those are policies 1310 through 4002, 6120, which deals with student health services, and 6125, administering medicine to students. Do I have a motion that we adopt the policies?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, aye. So please let them know that we passed that, Ms. Scholler, and they can start doing the training in that for the EpiPen usage. Okay, next, student board member reports from Thomas Poston, Katie Traylor, Rick Loggy, and Alexandra Carter. Thomas?
Good evening. This is a great season for athletics at CCHS, with softball, track, tennis, and baseball all underway. The baseball team is doing very well so far. They've won against Camden, Manio, and Gates, and they have a game coming up this Wednesday at Perquimans. The softball team is off to a great start, too, as are tennis and track. I believe track had a meet at First Flight today, and tennis had a match at home, I think. So if you have the chance, I encourage you to swing by and support our Knights. Any of the teams really would be, it's great to go out there and see our athletes work and support the Knights. And I'm very excited to announce that the Currituck County Theater Program will be performing our spring musical, The Music Man, which will open on April 11th. That's the weekend of Palm Sunday. Tickets will go on sale soon, so keep an eye out. And you may have seen a preview if you were lucky enough to attend the Spring Into the Arts program we had this past Saturday at the high school. It was fantastic. I ended up staying the whole day. Great musical abilities, visual arts, and also some local artisans. So if you missed it, you really missed out because it was fantastic. Yeah. On to Katie.
Hey, y'all. Rising sophomores, juniors, and seniors will be registering for new classes next semester this week. FCCLA will be traveling for competition March 31st through April 2nd in Raleigh. The ACT will be administered March 18th for all juniors. Currituck hosted the course fair Thursday, March 6th. It was a success once again. Rising 8th graders had the opportunity to speak to teachers, current students, and club sponsors about the exciting and diverse opportunities for learning awaiting them next year at Currituck County High School. Now to Rick.
Students from Currituck County High School, Moyock Middle School, and JP Knapp all attended the Regional Science Olympiad competition recently, and students from all three schools were recognized, as well as Moyock Middle School being offered a place at the state competition as a school, and several individuals from both high schools being invited. The board is now accepting applications for student board members. Interested students should see their guidance counselors for applications. And kindergarten registration has begun at Jarvisburg Elementary and will progress through all the elementary schools in the county. I want to congratulate Thomas on 2 really massive scholarships he just got. And best wishes to all the students who applied to Knapp for next year.
Hello, good evening. I have the pleasure of announcing that Currituck County Middle School won the District Battle of the Books competition and will be heading to regionals on March 27th. And I know they're super, super excited about that. They're always really into books, and they get into it too. It's like no messing around. They're into it. Also, JP Knapp Early College will be ending their quarter on the 13th of this month. Parent-teacher conferences will be the 24th. And then the MMS and JP Knapp FBLA chapters will be holding, or are holding as of this moment, a barbecue sale, which the meal itself will be handed out on March 14th. And you can actually pick those up drive-through style at MMS. We're fundraising for state competitions. Daniel mentioned that FBLA JP Knapp has just found out they made the finals, which was absolutely amazing. We're looking forward to that. So talk to any FBLA member about the barbecue sale because we are really excited about going. Also, just as a shout out to JP Knapp, Rick and I go there, and we love that school more than pie. Like, it is the greatest thing. And I know myself, I was really hesitant about going. But go with an open mind. That's all I can tell anybody who comes into the school, because anything can happen at JP Knapp. Anything can happen at the high school, and it's really about what your dreams and goals are. Whether you think it would be a good fit for you. So just be excited for the new year. Don't think about school starting yet. But be excited. And just thank you to everyone who is here sharing their stories. It's really awesome to see everyone really excited about learning. So, oh, and congratulations to Rick for placing first in his Science Olympiad competition. So just throwing that out there.
So, yeah, to the kids about to go to nap, 79 free college credit hours. So, you can do it.
Great.
Oh, dear. But I actually just learned each college credit hour for an in-state student costs $71.50. So imagine that times 79, and that's how much he's saved. So thank you, JP Knapp. And thank you, board members, for being awesome. And have a great night, if that's okay to say.
Thank you. Sure, why not?
No.
Okay. Thomas, Katie, Rick, Alexandra, thanks for your reports. And now, Thomas, tell us about the 2 massive scholarships you got.
Okay, well, I was offered the Carswell Scholarship to Wake Forest University in Winston-Salem. And then the National Merit Scholarship, I think, was the other one Rick was referring to, which I'm a finalist for. So thank you, Rick, for shouting out.
Somebody said you had Moorhead news, but I didn't know.
No, I just got finalist on Moorhead. I did not actually win, but thank you.
Congratulations.
All right, so thank you. Thank you, though.
And congratulations to you, Rick.
Yes.
Okay, next, overnight field trip request. Ms. Schuller?
Okay, our wrestling team from CCHS went to the State Wrestling Championships in Greensboro February 19th through the 23rd. Our CCHS cheerleaders will attend the National Cheer Competition in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, March 14th through the 17th. JP Knapp FBLA is going to the State Leadership Conference in Greensboro, March 20th through the 22nd. Moyock Middle School FBLA will attend the State Leadership Conference in Greensboro, March 20th through the 22nd. Moyock Middle School Science Olympiad competition is in Raleigh. That's April 25th and 26th. And CCHS AP government trip to Arlington, Virginia and Washington, D.C. will be May 26th through the 28th. So our students are doing a lot of good things.
Good. Do I have a motion that we adopt the overnight field trip request?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Do they all have proper chaperones and that on the? Okay, have a motion and a second that we approve. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Next, consent agenda. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next, public comment session. The public comment session is a time when an individual or group can address the board about our schools. This is not a time to speak about issues or concerns involving identifiable personnel or students. Matters of this nature should be submitted in writing to the superintendent, and your concerns will be addressed. Individuals or group will be called in order in which they signed up and will be asked to limit the remarks to 3 minutes. When you come to the podium, please state your name and address. Okay, first is Will Currituck.
Good evening. My name's Will Currituck. Excuse me one moment. My name's Will Currituck. I live at 182 Brumley Road, Knott's Island, North Carolina. And first of all, I'm here to just talk about some things involving the schools. And I'd like to thank, if I could, Ms. Kinzel, who I stopped by, and she gave me some information that I was inquiring about. Very kind. I was unannounced, so I'd like to just let her know that I really appreciate that. So what I'm here to talk about is, we have 14 combination classes countywide, and primarily, as I'm understanding, in our elementary levels. Okay, where we have one educator responsible for 2 curriculums. And I'm very concerned that that compromises our foundation as a school system as a whole. I think that when you have any time in life that you don't focus 100% on one thing, and you're asked to focus on more than one thing, then obviously you can't provide 100% attention to either curriculum. So I would like to say that I think that is very important. A lot of people I'm speaking with throughout the county think that's very important. But coupled with the fact that we adopted the Common Core education that has been adopted by the state, and then the school board adopted it. And then shortly thereafter, I believe we adopted that around 2012. I could be off slightly. But shortly thereafter that, we, you, the board, in 2012, June of 2012, as I understand it, approved homework grading for the middle and the high schoolers predominantly, that is counting as 0% of their final grade. And so I'm looking at this and I'm like, it's like layered. It's like this here, again, it compromises. When you don't have students required to do their homework and they don't have the skills that are developed as a result of doing the homework, and you're not given a grade, and the students that might be not as energetic as others choose to not do the homework, and then the one student does the homework, I mean, I don't think that's really parallel with the mission of Common Core, which, as I understand in my reading, talks about preparing them for adulthood and career and vocational education and college. So I have to honestly ask, how does that not compromise one's readiness for adulthood, one's readiness to proceed in adult education? So we got the youngsters in the elementary level that don't have an educator per curriculum. A lot of them are 2 grades for one. Okay, so then we don't have homework counting as part of the final grade. Now, Ms. Kinzel did share with me the review that you spoke to that was, I'm assuming, because I wasn't able to make it for the work session. And
we've reached 3 minutes. Could you try to wrap it up, please?
Yes, sir. I appreciate that. That still talks about leaving it up to the instructor. May is the term. The may. Okay? The instructor may elect to. Well, the instructor may not. And all I'm trying to say is, I'm not trying to maybe prepare these students for adulthood. I'm trying to make sure they're ready. Okay, so when you take away things like educators, homework, you compromise the integrity of the whole school system. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, Sandy Kinzel.
I'll be very brief because I believe Rick has already mentioned this, but I did want to make the public aware of our kindergarten registration campaign that will begin with Jarvisburg on March 24th. This year we are offering a one-stop convenience for parents by offering a single-day registration at each of our elementary school sites. That'll be on their campus. It's usually closer to their neighborhoods where they're living. We just want to remind parents, though, that on those one days, they must, on those one school days schedules, that they must bring specific information that will allow them to register. Proof of residency, a child's original birth certificate, and their updated SHOT records are 3 of the primary things that need to be brought in. These registration dates registration will take place between 1:30 and 6:30 on each of the dates. So we have put that information out and we'll have it publicized in the paper. We wanted to make that aware. We have gifts for the board also. And I brought, now I'm going to deliver, but I'm going to let Steve talk because he has been instrumental in bringing the one book, one district activity to life. So I'm going to let him tell you a little bit about these little trinket toys and what you can do to get yourself involved.
Good evening. We're going to begin March the 27th. All 5 of our elementary schools are going to be reading The World According to Humphrey. And all of our principals, their staff, students, bus drivers, cafeteria workers, other staff members are going to be starting this book and reading together, and we'd love to have you read it along with us. Visit our schools during that time. It'll be the 3 weeks leading up to our spring break. So I'd invite you to drop in the schools to see what we're doing, see how excited the kids are about it, and talk to the parents in the community because they'll tell you about it as well. We just appreciate your support for this program.
Y'all just finished Charlotte's Web, right?
We finished Charlotte's Web, yes.
And there's a lot of tears I hear.
Yes. Lots of tears. Adults, though. Most.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
I
that's
wasn't going to
true.
say that, Steve. But
Right.
And I just want to make a final note. The books that you've received were a donation. We were able to find a competitive price for the books that we purchased for the activity district-wide and be able to support a local business. And their appreciation was to provide everyone with their books free of charge. So we wanted to thank you, and that's the card there for Duck Cottage Downtown Books. And we'll send them a thank you on your behalf.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And Steve, are all the schools going to go at the same pace on the book?
Same reading schedule.
Same reading schedule?
We can get you a copy of the reading schedule.
Okay.
That'd be great.
Great.
Or
Thanks, and
email
thanks
it
for
or
all your
something.
efforts on the one book, one
We'll get you a copy of the
district
reading
now.
schedule.
Okay, great. Thanks. This is one I haven't read. Good.
Okay, next, information items. Our next work session will be April 3rd, 2014 at the Knapp Learning Center at 5 o'clock. And the next board meeting will be April 3rd, 2014, right here at 6:30. Now, board member comments. We'll start with Ms. Etheridge.
Yes, I just wanted to thank Scarborough Elementary School for inviting me out to be a mystery reader. I actually got out my old Halloween costume that's a blow-up horse, and I galloped into Scarborough Elementary with my Dr. Seuss book in hand, and I had a wonderful morning with the kids. Galloping down the hall, I was invited to go into several classrooms and read the book.
I even saw a picture.
So I just want to thank them and all the teachers, all the students. I mean, I'm just so proud to represent Currituck County School System, and I thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Mr. Simmons?
It's been a busy month. First off, I had a chance to go by the Small Business Expo. I had a chance to nearly freeze to death the other night at the baseball game. I wanted to stay longer, but after 3 innings, the aluminum bleachers said, you got to go. Very good baseball team this year. Stopped by the high school during Power Hour, had a chance to sit in, watch our kids during Power Hour and see all the different things they were doing. Had a chance to go to freshman orientation a couple nights ago. It was amazing how our kids at the high school got involved with the freshman orientation, from chorus to football to baseball. All the art classes. It was just showed if you're a freshman coming to the high school next year, how many things that you could do. Had a chance to go to the Spring Arts Festival and hear our elementary schools sing and see the high school put on part of their production. Next, I told you it was a busy month. Next, let me tell you something Dr. Dobney asked me to tell you, and it was, I'm not going to take a long time, and I could. 2 weeks ago, my wife and I love NASCAR. Well, we have a friend of ours who owns 2 cars, and he invited us to come down to Daytona. And my wife said, what a wonderful time to show kids at Currituck County High School how many jobs are available in NASCAR. So while we were down there, she actually took her iPad, and he got us what's called a hot pass that we could go behind the scenes into the garage with drivers, with some of the pit crews, with the garage managers. And she sat down with an iPad, and first off, she interviewed Doug Fuller, who owns the 40 car and the 33 car, and actually his 40 car came in 12th at the Daytona 500. But she interviewed him, and he told how many jobs were available in NASCAR for high school students when they come out. Next, she sat down with his crew chief, and his crew chief actually took the iPad, which they were Skyping back to Currituck High School. The kids were in the library. It was our automotive class and our marketing class and many others. And the kids could actually type in a question, and it would come across the iPad, and the people in NASCAR could sit down and talk to the iPad back to Currituck County High School here in North Carolina and answer the kids' questions. And they had some wonderful questions, from everything from the car itself to some of the drivers. She interviewed Landon Castle, young 21-year-old driver who sat down with the iPad for 55 minutes and talked to these kids about what all they could do, the jobs that were there. She interviewed several of the ESPN guys who were actually, they were interviewing Jeff Gordon, and as they came out, she said, would you like to talk to a Currituck County high school class, automotive class, and they jumped right on it. But she interviewed different people, from everybody from a NASCAR official, and he said that he went to college for one semester and just knew it wasn't for him and went into NASCAR, and when he told the kids the amount of money he was making, they all wanted to be NASCAR officials. Last but not least, people who have been around NASCAR, and I know Miss Scholler here was a NASCAR fan, she ran into Ned Jarrett, and Ned Jarrett was an old driver who, his son was Dale Jarrett, and the first thing she said, would you like to talk to our kids in Currituck? And he said, well, do you know where Moyock is? And she said, well, yeah, we know where Moyock is. He said, I won the last race ever run at Moyock Speedway. And he said also Richard Petty ran there. And when you look back, and people who've been in Currituck a long time remember the old dog track that was there in Moyock. That was a NASCAR track. Yeah. And it was something that, we let slip away from our county years ago that would be such a wonderful place now. But it was really nice for her to show how many different jobs that our kids could get if they just have that calling to go to NASCAR. And it was really neat to see how our kids at Currituck County High School used their technology to Skype to Daytona to questions and have them answered. And I talked long enough, Bill, so I'll let you go.
No, you need to finish the story there. It's like, I stopped in the automotive program. I knew nothing about this, and then was talking to Mr. Wooten today, and he was telling me about all the opportunities that the kids had.
I have
and what
to
they
tell
were
you about a bumper.
Yep.
I got to tell you
His
about
wife
a bumper.
did some dumpster diving.
My wife goes to the 40 car and says, do you ever have a bumper or a hood or something that we could send back to Currituck? And these guys are pointing at a dumpster. Well, those of you who watched NASCAR on Thursday night, I think it was the Budweiser duels, Michael Waltrip hit the wall extremely hard, tore his car up. Well, in a NASCAR, they just took a saw and cut the front of the car off and threw it in the dumpster. And I get a text from my wife that says, I have Michael Waltrip's car, front of the car, come help. Well, we actually brought the bumper back. Michael Waltrip's bumper now is in our automotive shop with all the decals and all on it. So she was a dumpster diver.
That's dedication.
That's great. Miss Kraft?
I have visions of Miss Simmons, Mr. Simmons holding Miss Simmons up while she digs in the dumpster. I also read at Shawboro Elementary School last week, and planned to read at Moyock Elementary School, but of course the weather had other plans. I read 2 books to Miss Brinkley's class and gave them those books afterwards. And Miss Iorio, I see you in the audience, and I have your 2 books in my car, so I'll come and I was supposed to read to her class. I went to Knott's Island a few weeks ago, and I just can't say enough. They have a fantastic, well-maintained campus, well-prepared teachers equal successful students who are engaged in learning, and that was going on, and it was very obvious at Knott's Island. Also, I have visited... I think I'm going to, I have visited all of the 14 combination classes in Currituck County in the last 2 months. And there are some phenomenal things going on. And if you don't believe that, you should have been at Jarvisburg Elementary School and watched the Wax Museum. And at Knott's Island, the day that I was there, actually there was a sub in the room, and those kids were working. And they were working hard. So I agree with you. I am privileged to be serving Currituck County students on the board.
Ms. Gaddis?
I got to visit Moyock Middle School today, actually. I got out there and toured the school, had a wonderful time walking around, seeing all the classrooms. I got to experience a student emergency, so I got to see kind of their plan in place for when something's happening. I won't say what happened to the student, but she was a little ill. But there was a lot of people running around, but very fast response, so it's nice to know that our students are safe. The staff responds when need be to take care of the children that they're watching over. I saw a lot of classrooms talked to a few students. I have to say I met Miss Lisa Doxey, who is the art student or art teacher there, and she is working collaboratively with Miss Vicki Turner, who is one of the science teachers. And these two ladies were extremely excited and insisted that I had to go into Miss Turner's classroom closet and see the volcanoes that their students collaboratively, as the art and science, doing the Common Core thing and using both at once, created these volcanoes, these elaborate, huge actually each of them had to do 3 different types of volcanoes, but they're art projects, down to the point that one of them even had little people and dogs and all perishing in the volcanoes, which I know it's not very nice, but it was really cute. They were not complete yet. I hope to maybe get to see some pictures of them completely finished, but it was a very nice time. I also left, or before I left, met Miss Bethany Forehand, yes. She was one of the 8th grade students there. She was in our newspaper recently. She received the President's Volunteer Award for volunteer hours, and I got the chance to congratulate her on behalf of the board and thank her for what she's doing for Currituck County and for herself, and told her that we were proud to have her coming from us, and that if there was anything we could do to help her in the future, to let us know.
Great. Thank you. I'd just like to remind everybody that we're going to have a one book, one district program start with The World According to Humphrey, and that is on March 25th that it begins? 27th? Okay.
I write that down.
And also, everybody knows we've had a number of makeup days, late starts, and the state requires us to have 1,025 hours. And at this point, we've made up 2 days, a number of hours, and we have to make up another day, and that will be April 18th.
That's correct.
So let's hope we don't have any other late starts of that, because we're going to have to start making all these up now. So with that, do I have a motion for adjournment?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Meeting adjourned.